The mayor goes to Congress, and the governor goes to The View. It's Friday, March 7th. Let's find out what happened in Chicago and or Illinois. This is the Ben Joravsky Show's Oh, What a Week!
Take it from an actual billionaire.
Oh, they love billionaires!
I love them, man.
How's it going, Ben?
It's going really well. I love the President Pritzker making his... by the way, we can't forget Mayor Rahm. We cannot forget our Mayor Rahm segment.
No,
Let's not forget the Mayor Rahm.
We just started,
Ben.
Okay. Literally just started.
Let's not forget Mayor Rahm.
This is what we call
President Pritzker.
We got to do what they call in the business a lead-in, Ben. Come on now. How you doing? How's it going? How's your week been?
It's going good, man. Is this like a tease? No, a tease is different.
Just tell me how your week went.
My weekend. Oh, it was excellent. It was excellent. I had a wonderful weekend. I had a wonderful week. And my beloved Bulls won last night, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Very good. Oh, yeah, your beloved Bulls. What's their record these days?
Oh, God, they're 29. And no, they haven't even won 29 games. I think they're 24 and 34. Oh, so here's the thing, and I know you don't want to talk about this, but I'll be very pithy, okay?
Thank you.
There's an absurdity that reigns in basketball where you're supposed to lose in order to get a high draft choice, even though the draft choice is not automatically, the highest draft choice is not automatically given to the team with the worst record.
All right, let's get started. Let's begin in the city of Chicago. And before we get into you're welcome, everybody. And before we get into the mayor's congressional hearing, we go to our former mayor. That's right, former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. That's where this is coming in.
Oh, so smart.
Former Chicago Mayor.
So smart.
That's a lead-in. Rahm Emanuel. Well, he's been doing that thing where he won't stop showing up on TV. And this time, he made an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher. Okay, people. Ben loves Real Time with Bill Maher. I heard he almost...
it's so not true.
He almost subscribed to HBO to get Real Time with Bill Maher. Let's take a trip back into time and remember what we used to have in Mayor Rahm Emanuel. This guy's brilliant, all right? Here's some more of his sound political advice. Last time, we heard a classic.
Democrats love to fall in love. Republicans fall in line.
Oh, yeah.
Goes on these shows, and he says things that everybody, they're either so trite or a million people have said them, but because he's a former chief of staff, because he has his reputation for being just a total jerk, for some reason, the national media is like, whoa, it's so wise what you said.
Yeah.
Let me just think. I'm Stephen Colbert's like really smart. Why are you acting like what Rahm is telling you? It's, let me think about that. Whoa.
Yeah. Again, Democrats fall in love. Republicans fall in line. That's some form of I'm smart, you're not.
Yeah. Like, 100%.
But let's hear the latest wisdom from our former mayor, Rahm Emanuel, during his Bill Maher appearance.
There is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of the culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster. Yeah. And our school, and I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
I love it.
I agree. We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. We literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level. So no more about the lot. Wait a second, I'm on a roll for a second. Yeah. No more. I don't want to hear.
I gave him the light. But
I don't want to hear another word about the classroom.
Oh, what a douchebag! Just so much douchery. What a douchebag. So. First of all, just so you know this, ladies and gentlemen, he's following Bill Maher's lead on this one. So Bill Maher, for a year or so, has been going around trashing Dems for being too permissive when it comes to trans. And then he uses sometimes the most unflattering photograph you can find of a trans person And the audience laughs. And then he says, oh, my God. And this is what the Dems want. Please, people. And
you're working on your Bill Maher. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, people.
Okay, people. So let me just say this really fast, okay, about Bill Maher. So if Bill Maher were to ask, which will never happen, I would not go on that show, okay? Now, if Joe Rogan were to ask, come on, Joey, I'm coming. Some of his jokes are funny. He's got some good writers, I got to admit. I mean, I'm not giving him credit for it.
Yeah. It's basically like Johnny Carson in the beginning, you know what I mean? Like he's
it was like Johnny Carson in the beginning. So he's got some good writers back there. But then when he gets on the mic, he's just so smug and so condescending, and he's such a bully. Like picking on trans people right now it's like you're picking on the most marginalized group of people that really have no strong support in our country. So it's like just kicking somebody who's down. It's essentially what it was. And then you get the people to rally around you. And so that's classic Rahm. He's going to pick on someone he thinks is most vulnerable and make himself look like strong, smart, pragmatic by doing so, and expect that Democrats. I think in the back of his mind, he does want to be president. I used to think, well, he wants to be senator or maybe governor. You know, he definitely will never run against an incumbent. He'll never run against J.B. Pritzker for governor. He's already made that clear. He never ran against Daley for mayor. He waited till Daley was handed it off to him. So I don't think he'll run against Senator Durbin, unless Durbin steps down. So I don't know, but when I watched that segment in the Bill Maher show, I go, oh, this is a guy who thinks he could be a great president. And he's sort of like using the Bill Maher show to sort of advance this notion that he'd be a good president. Everything he said was just like a fabrication. So when you talk about like those three things that he started with safe streets, strong schools, I don't know, stable finances, his administration, none of those happened during his administration. We had high crime. We had incredible instability at our schools. Talk about picking on the vulnerable. Closed 50 schools and promised folks that the kids who would go to the new school, whose old schools were closed, would go to new schools with more money, and there was no more money there. He didn't make good on the promise. He just left the office, left them hanging. Alden Lowry and the Sun-Times did the investigation. Sarah Karp, shout out to her, Nader. It's all of them. They did an investigation like 6 years later. What happened to the money that was promised to these new schools? The schools that took the kids from the old schools that were closed for, and there was no money there. The promises were not met. And stable finances, oh my God. Dude ratified, essentially re-ratified the parking meter deal, the worst parking meter deal, the worst privatization deal in the history of Chicago. So it's just like, there's no reality. He didn't do any of the things he says, like, this is my mantra. This is how I view government. He didn't do any of them. So why are you bragging about something you didn't do? Picking on the most vulnerable, hoping to advance your campaign. You and Gavin Newsom. Man, that is just Gavin Newsom, governor of California, trying to advance his presidential campaign by picking on trans people. Well, I don't know, D. It was a particular and then, come on, what did you think of the joke? As a student of comedy, this guy, by the way, is a student of comedy.
We have a guest coming on, a student of comedy?
You are the student, my friend.
Oh, okay.
You, my friend. As a student of comedy, what did you think of his joke about if I knew I could get into a girl's bathroom in 7th grade?
Yeah, read the room. You're going on Bill Maher. Either way you pull it, it's like your punchline is like, hey, I'm a weirdo.
That's the punchline. I'm weird.
Hey, I'm a creep.
I'm a creep. If I could figure out a way to get into a girl's bathroom, you're a weird guy.
All right, well, he obviously wouldn't get our vote, but did we just make breaking news here on the Ben Joravsky Show? Are you saying Rahm Emanuel may run for president?
I definitely think he has it in the back of his mind.
Really?
But I don't think he would run against J.B. Pritzker. I don't think he would. He has the guts to do that. Remember, Rahm only runs in races that he believes he can win that are being handed to him. That's the history. He's run for 2 off seats. He ran to replace Ablago as congressman in the 5th Congressional. and Daley, Mayor Daley at the time, endorsed him. And then he ran to replace Mayor Daley in 2010. 2011 was the election. And if you recall, Daley stepped down, and Rahm announced on some national TV show where the host was like standing by with bated breath. Let me listen to what you have to say. That I would love to be mayor of the city of Chicago. So he wants to run for something, D. He even suggests he might run for mayor of the city of Chicago again. No,
my goodness. Wow. I mean, like, duh. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, and he'd probably win.
We can talk about mayoral futures some other time. In fact, I think on our next What a Week, we're going to do another Chicago mayoral candidate spotlight. What do you think about that, Ben? Huh? Sound good? Next week, what do you say we do Alexi Giannoulias, huh?
Oh, come on now.
There you go. Yeah. Alexi Giannoulias, the guy who's been Secretary of State for about 2 years and some change. They switched all the pictures all across the state. Now the guy wants to run for mayor. All that work.
Let's give a shout out to listener Frank. He likes to point out that Alexi would have to run for re-election right before the mayoral race. And how weird would that look, to run for re-election right before?
I mean, I know we're going to talk about it next week, but I watched video of Giannoulias, and he was talking about the real ID, the thing that's going to be going on. Oh, he looked miserable. It looks like he does not like his job as Secretary of State. He was like, all right, for the 5th time, guys, real ID. You don't have to get it. We're going to talk about Alexi Giannoulias next week in our Chicago mayoral candidate spotlight. Enough about the past, enough about the future. Let's look at the present. Let's talk about our Chicago mayor, one Brandon Johnson.
People mocked President Johnson, and we ended up with Richard Nixon.
Okay, quit blaming Nixon.
When did he say that? I remember that. I just can't remember when he said it. And we ended up with Richard Nixon.
Thank you, teacher.
I remember when he said that.
Thank you, as my daughter says. Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, I was going to say, take it from me, Mayor Johnson. Don't make references that before, I don't know what year now, 2012. You lose everyone, okay? Then you have to explain to the people, don't get the reference, who they're referring to. Then you irritate people who actually know it. You ever notice that, Dave? Like, I know. Okay, when I say to a guest, you probably don't know. I know. I'm like, okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure you knew who Richard Nixon was. I'm well aware.
So our Chicago mayor had, I'd say, an unreal week. He traveled to Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. I'm not sure if he did any sightseeing because he was there to testify before Congress about the city's sanctuary policies, but he did not go alone. Also joining Mayor Johnson, there was the Democratic Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston. Ben, can you name who the Democratic Mayor of Denver is? You know the name?
Oh, yeah, Johnson. No, not Mike Johnson. It's something Johnson.
Oh, you're so close. We're going to give it to you. It's Mike Johnston with a T.
Johnston.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Michelle Wu of Boston, Democratic Mayor Mike Johnston of Denver, joining as well, just barely, and I mean barely, Democratic Mayor of New York, Eric Adams. Quick recap on Adams now. He may or may not have cut a deal with President Trump going into this immigration hearing, and he may or may not have a MAGA hat on his save for later list on Amazon. Because although Adams says there was no quid pro quo with the president, the New York mayor was indicted in 2024 on conspiracy to defraud the United States, wire fraud, 2 counts of soliciting campaign contributions from foreign nationals, and 1 count of soliciting and accepting a bribe. You know, all the stuff the good politicians do.
I will say this about Eric Adams in that hearing. Eric Adams has, whether he has officially or formally left the Democratic Party, and I don't believe he's officially left it, in the minds of everybody who follows politics, he is a MAGA man. And so at the hearing, the congressional hearing, it was the Republicans, the MAGA people, who were praising him and easy with him on the questions and praising, oh, I love your suit, Mayor Adams. And it was the Democrats like AOC, love you, AOC, who are tearing him apart. Just hurry up and answer. Everyone knows how AOC interrogates someone, like when they start to answer. I just, yes or no.
Yeah, they all do the yes or no thing.
Yes or no. Yes or no. Yeah, I know they all do it. She's really good at it.
They stole.
I only have a certain amount of time.
Like they stole mom's cookies from the cookie jar. I need a yes or no.
That's like us. Remember us in the old days? No ducking and dodging. I asked you a yes or no question. Well, well is not yes or no.
All right, now, damn it, we don't live in New York. We live in Chicago. So back to Mayor Johnson. Let's find out what happened when the mayor went to Washington.
Okay.
The following comes from Fox 32, Ben.
Are we flying to Paris?
You know what time it is. Hold my beer and strap in, buddy, because we're going to Paris. Oh, hey, my beer!
I love that.
It's Fox 32's Paris Schutz. By the way, after this deep dive we're about to read from him, Paris Schutz on the Ben Joravsky Show has been newly crowned the meanest Illinois political bulldog in the yard. This dude's ruthless these days.
I thought he was supposed to be a nice guy.
Well, those days are over. WTTW, done. He's a bulldog now.
He's now like really taking on the Flannery role.
So thanks to Paris, who is now the meanest Illinois political bulldog in the yard, we have the audio. Our Chicago mayor got to sit and chat with some friendly folks on Wednesday. Wouldn't you say, Ben?
No.
First, let's keep it local. How about Representative Republican? You'll be able to tell when I play the audio. Darren LaHood.
Mayor, tell me why you continue to put the interests of illegal immigrants above taxpayers in Chicago.
Thank you for your representation. Violent crime is down in Chicago.
Well, let me reclaim my time. So I have a statistic here. Last year, Chicago had 573 murders.
Down.
Okay, but I want to compare that to the city of New York that is almost two-thirds the size of Chicago, 337 murders. So you had 573 murders in the city of Chicago, and you're one-third the size.
That's the lowest amount in 5 years under my leadership.
Okay, and you look at the level of violent criminals, sexual offenses, and drug dealers.
All violent crime is down in Chicago. In fact, just this year alone, Congressman, respectfully, there's a 20% decrease in violent crime in the city of Chicago.
I don't agree with your statistics.
Well, it's not a matter of whether or not you agree with it. It's a matter of whether it's a fact.
Let me reclaim my time.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go Brandon 1, Darren LaHood 0.
It was excellent. Let me just say this. So if you want to have a serious conversation about crime, which, of course, they don't want to have a serious conversation about crime. They don't have a serious conversation about anything. You would start with the notion, why is Chicago's murder rate higher than in New York's? This is a conversation I've had with so many people in the city of Chicago over the years, because it's true. And by the way, Darren LaHood, is the son of Ray LaHood, who was a downstate politician, Republican, who went to work for Obama, not making this up. Obama added a Republican to his cabinet when he was first elected. I think it was the first term, maybe the second term. I don't know. Listener Frank, look that one up.
Frank!
Jamie, come on. So there's some, the Daddy LaHood was bipartisan. Baby LaHood is just an attack dog for MAGA. But during the days of Richard M. Daley, Baby Daley, Republicans loved him. And all throughout the administration of Baby Daley, Chicago's crime rate, murder rate, was higher than New York's. And I never heard any Republican discussing it. I never heard any Republican getting into what is it about Chicago that the murder rate is higher than New York or LA, or LA. And I used to have conversations with all kinds of learned people. Mick Dumke could talk for hours about this, okay? Mark Sims, the great Mark Sims, we would talk about this, all right? Pete Cunningham, I'm thinking of all the different people who would read scholarly papers and do analysis of the numbers and talk about the culture of Chicago or of revenge. If someone punches you, you don't punch them back, you shoot them, okay? What is it about Chicago? It's such a more violent city than New York. And now here we are in 2025, and the MAGA has decided to turn Chicago into its punching bag. And I guess New York is, they don't want to punch at New York because Eric Adams is essentially a MAGA guy, called a Blago, which, by the way, brilliant move. He is avoiding prosecution by sucking up to Trump. Blago got out of prison by sucking up to Trump. So it was all smart moves. Everybody sees how you play the game. If Brandon Johnson was as astute as Eric Adams, he'd be going, I love Donald Trump. And all of a sudden, you would hear LaHood going, Mr. Mayor, what a custodian you've been in the city of Chicago. the crime rate has plummeted under your leadership and your watch. What advice would you give us? But no, of course, he's not going to do that. And by the way, how about this distinction? Think about this, D. You live in McKinley Park. Okay, I shouldn't have given away where you live. You live on the southwest side.
That's fine. I live in McKinley Park, guys. It's okay.
He lives in McKinley Park. There's a lot of immigrants in McKinley Park. Guess what? They pay taxes, whether they're citizens or not. So the concept, like, on one hand, we have illegal aliens, which is, I don't know, what is that, ET? Is it illegal alien? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This illegal alien, which is this weird being that's not really human, and then taxpayers who are footing the bill. Wait, the illegal aliens are paying taxes too. Dennis's neighbors on the southwest side, whether or not their citizens, are paying taxes. Why are you distinguishing between illegal aliens who from Mars, scary, frightening beings, and taxpayers? That right there is a phony distinction. And I kind of wish, I wish Brandon had called him out on that. You see, Brandon was playing a different type of role. You get what I'm saying, D? I wish Brandon said, "What are you talking about, you moron?" And first of all, your daddy worked for the Democrats.
That was your advice for him. He didn't take your advice.
What are you talking about, you moron? I didn't hear you complaining about things when Daley was mayor. When Daley was mayor, you were like, "Oh, Mr. Mayor, let me kiss you." You sucked up to Mayor Daley like you suck up to Donnie Trump.
By the way,
if you said that.
This thing went on from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's just a brutal
straight
day.
Without a break.
Yeah.
I think they took a bathroom break. All right, mayors, hurry up, get in and get out.
Go get your Capitol chili and come on.
By the way, Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston used to live in Chicago. Did you know that?
No, who cares, really?
Boston. Who cares? That's true.
All right, well, we got another clip to play here. Round 2 of Brandon Johnson and Darren LaHood. I think LaHood learned from that first clip. Okay, Brandon may have been born at night, but not last night. So let's see how round 2 goes.
I thought you might do this. And when I hear your answer, no one in this room should be surprised that your approval rating is 6.6%. Now, that's not just me saying this. Newsweek article, the least popular politician in America is Brandon Johnson. So recent poll, M3 Strategies conducted this February 20th to 21st, showed that Mayor Johnson has a 6.6% approval rating, the worst showing of any political figure in the country's history. So I know you're talking about crime is down and things are great and, the city's flush with money. None of that is backed up by the people in the city of Chicago. And so I'm wondering why you continue to go down this path of failed policies, destruction to the city of Chicago, people fleeing, law enforcement at an all-time low. And I'm wondering if you have any remorse for that here today and can tell us why you continue to double down on these failed policies.
We've invested $1.25 billion for housing and economic development, particularly for Black Chicago. It's the largest investment in the history of Chicago. 45% increase in youth employment, particularly for Black and brown children. I will not apologize for my investments in the people of Chicago.
First of all, LaHood is right about that. Mayor Johnson is exceedingly unpopular. Dia, as you have pointed out to me, and Monroe Anderson has pointed out to me, I am among the very, very, very few in the city of Chicago who have anything nice to say about Mayor Brandon. I'm part of the 6.6% and proud of it. Okay? There's me, a guy named Matt, a guy named Keith, a guy named Louise. I can name all Brandon Johnson supporters. So yeah, it's absolutely true, LaHood. That Brandon Johnson's exceedingly unpopular. He's been unpopular from the day he was elected. From the moment he was elected, the people of the city of Chicago said, "Nah, we don't like this guy." And then pretty much everybody out in the media said, yeah, he's unpopular. Let's just pile on him. Let's go. And he does run the worst communications department I've ever seen. He did a better job, frankly, in Washington when the communications team was nowhere near him. He was just alone. So this all contributes to it. I think there's a general brainwashing that has gone on in the city of Chicago that accounts for this. I've said this many times. And I also think he did really poorly, putting it mildly, with dealing with the so-called immigration crisis. But, there's also just the general effect, the impact that people are, how do I put this? They want to be on the side that's winning. And that's something that's really such a part of Chicago, D. Like so many Chicagoans, it's like if you're ahead, they'll go with you. And when it comes to politics, they want to vote for a person that they think is going to win. I am not going to name this person. I've referred to him several times on the show. I had a conversation with him, but I don't want to embarrass him by naming him because he views himself as an astute observer of Chicago politics. I don't want to embarrass him, D, by naming him, okay? I'm going to beam to you his name, see if it works. Did it work? I beamed to you his name.
Wait,
anyway.
Are you talking about me?
No.
Okay.
Because what I'm about to say, you never said anything vaguely this dumb. So I said, well, who are you going to vote for in the mayor's election? And I forget. I forget who he said was his favorite. Whatever his favorite candidate was running. Maybe it was Rod Sawyer. Let's say his favorite candidate was Rod Sawyer. Believe it or not, I remember Rod Sawyer ran the last election. He goes, I don't want to vote for him because he's not going to win. I want to vote for the winner. And I'm like, why? You don't get a prize if you vote for the winner. The winner doesn't even know you voted for him. You know what I mean? It's not like in Vegas where you bet on who wins the game and you get money back. It doesn't work that way. What mentality is governing your brain? Well, I just want to vote for the winner, Ben. Don't you want to vote for the winner? No. Why? Why would I do that? In other words, like that meant I would vote for Trump in 2024. I would have figured out, well, all the smart money is going on Trump. He's going to win. So I guess I'll vote for Trump because he'll be the winner. And then what? What's going to happen? That's a Chicago mentality. And LaHood, you're from Illinois. Your daddy worked for Obama. You know the Chicago mentality. For years and years and years, they elected Mayor Daley. He wouldn't dare, again, say anything bad about Mayor Daley. So, I'm not from Chicago, and I like to break away from the mentality. So I'm proud to say I'm part of the 6.6% who still supports Mayor Brandon Johnson. It could go down to 3%, guys. I'm not budging, okay? The rest of you, little cowards running away. I'm scared.
So during this whole thing, it seemed like about 25%, maybe a little more, they talked about immigration. And the rest of it, they're just like ripping on Brandon for things that had nothing to do with immigration.
That is correct.
I got to say, I feel like these guys got a little swagger after that Zelensky-Trump meeting last week.
Yeah, they're all imitating Trump.
Where's your suit, buddy?
So, yeah, this is what they did. They brought up Brandon Johnson, knowing he was exceedingly unpopular, knowing that there would be no one critical of them for bashing him. In fact, the overwhelming majority of Chicagoans would agree with them. All right. And they just wailed away on him. And you're right. It's political theater. It absolutely no bearing whatsoever on what we should do about immigration in this country. There is no correlation whatsoever between rising crime, which is not even rising, and an influx of immigrants. It's a totally made up, contrived issue that people have bought into because it's easy to bamboozle the public. You know this as well as I do, D. You live in a great neighborhood filled with immigrants.
You really like McKinley Park. I think we're about to be neighbors.
I do like it. There's absolutely no correlation. It's a made-up issue. Any Chicagoan who falls for this is, well, you're really a sucker. And so Brandon Johnson gets dragged out to play his role of the villain in this political theater. And I don't think anyone was impressed by it, D. I actually believe that most people just turned the page on it. I don't believe he gained any support from it. I don't believe he grew the 6.6%. But I don't think he grew he lost the 6.6%, if you follow what I'm saying. It's kind of like even Chicagoans who are not the smartest people when it comes to politics. I hate to say it, Chicago. Even Chicagoans, I think, saw through the political theater of this hearing.
Not much about immigration, a lot about ripping Brandon for things not involving immigration. I think the best example of this, also in this congressional hearing, they talked about the gift room. That's right. Brandon Gill brought up the gift room. The gift room, hundreds of items in the mayor's office that are not yours and will never be yours. They're the mayor's. For some reason, he won't give it away or throw them away. They just stay in this closet for some reason. The gift room.
Yeah.
Let's go to Brandon Gill. Let's go to Brandon Gill and hear what he had to say.
For those of you who don't know, Mayor Johnson has a secret gift room that is not given access to the public or for access to the Office of Inspector General. I'd like to ask you a couple questions about that. Do you know everyone who's given you a gift since you became mayor?
The city of Chicago has had a policy for 40 years
a yes or no question.
where there are individuals that would like to give gifts to
I'm
the
reclaiming
city of
my
Chicago,
time. I'm going to take that as
and we do not accept those
when
gifts.
Did you become
we receive
mayor?
them on
I'm
behalf
going to reclaim my
of
time
the city
here.
of Chicago.
You're not going to filibuster.
This is good for the ears.
When did you become mayor?
I was elected mayor of the city of Chicago in April of 2023, and I was sworn in May 15th
on June
of
12th,
2023.
On June 12th, 2023, you received Hugo Boss cufflinks and a personalized Mont Blanc pin. Do you know who gave you those?
So I did not receive those personally. The city of Chicago
received those
them.
on behalf
and
of the
that's
city of
right, on behalf of the city of Chicago,
I
every
understand
mayor
the difference.
in the history of Chicago who has
who
provided
gave those
gifts to the city of Chicago.
Do you know who gave those to the city of Chicago?
So again, on behalf of the city of Chicago, there
It's
are
a yes
gifts
or no
that are
question.
received, but I do not accept. Those are not my personal gifts.
You don't know.
Those are the gifts of the city of
on March
Chicago,
18th,
and that's why you are aware that they exist because they're within the law.
Reclaim my time here, sir.
Flew all the way to Washington to talk about the gift room.
I gotta say, he did a good job. I thought he did a good job there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would have preferred him to say, what a bogus question, man. First of all, it's not a secret gift room. Everybody knows about it. In fact, I urge you, I wish he had said this, I urge you to listen to Ben and Dr. D and their riff on the gift room, which is really funny. Okay? In fact, can we play that Exhibit A? Everybody knows about the gift room. How can it be a secret? Secret gift room. I was like, wait, is there another gift room that I didn't know about? Or
the secret gift room behind the other gift room, yeah.
The gift room's the biggest joke in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump and the Supreme Court have legalized corruption in America, and they're worried about the mayors getting the cufflinks.
But I will say, hey guys, can we just get rid of all that shit in the room and just kind of, why is it there? Give it away. Get rid of it. Seems to just be causing a lot of problems.
That's a good point. They should give it away. In fact,
I like cufflinks.
Back in the day, cufflinks. Mayor Johnson, I could hook you up with Dennis on this one if you want. He wants the cufflinks, and he wants the pen too. Okay. But back in the day, Herb Kupcinet, the columnist for the Sun-Times, the gossip columnist, he would get, oh my God, so much gifts from various people trying to get in his column and win them over. And at the day, I was a copy boy for the newspaper, the Daily News. We shared an office with the Sun-Times. They were like boxes of liquor, and it'd be lined up. And I think he gave them away to charity after a while. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great tradition in the city of Chicago. But Congressman Gill from Texas, he's from Texas, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that's a dude, Dinesh D'Souza's son-in-law. He's a right-wing MAGA guy, and he's very concerned about the gift room propriety in the city of Chicago, while his guy, Donnie Trump, is cutting deals with Saudi, golf courses. He's got various ventures going, cryptocurrency ventures going. He's got a social media company going. He's building Trump hotels in India. But we're worried about those cufflinks. Gosh darn it, let's get to the bottom of that.
But it is kind of weird. A big giant room with stuff that are gifts. Get rid of it. Get rid of the gift room, guys. Go give it away. And some of it's from former mayors, so it's like technically yours because, you're in the office. Just nothing but trouble. Get rid of the gifts.
It is trouble. And I've been thinking about, like, who gave him the pen? I really do want to know who gave him.
And who's like, oh, we got to keep that pen.
Yeah,
don't. It's like my grandma or something when I'm trying to like help her throw her stuff away in her basement. Like, don't throw that away.
Yeah, no, the gift room is a gift that keeps giving for the Ben Joravsky Show. That's for certain.
Oh, you aren't kidding. By the way, today's show is brought to you by The Gift Room. Hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of items in a room for some reason. They're not yours. You're never going to have them. They're the mayor's. He won't get rid of them. They just sit there in a room because, I don't know, maybe Armageddon happens one day and you have some cufflinks.
You should give them to the congressman. Hey, Congressman Gill, you want the pen? I'll give you the pen. All right.
That's correct.
Yeah. The other point here is a good one that you started with. What this has to do with immigration, sanctuary cities, crime, I do not know.
All right, like I said, I think they got a little swagger after that Zelensky-Trump meeting where they're like, hey, man, why don't you wear a suit ever, dude?
Yeah. By the way, Trump is shaking down Zelensky for the rights to minerals in Ukraine, and we're worried about the gift room.
All right, now let's get to the news in our beloved state, Illinois. Well, someone made an appearance on ABC's The View recently.
Here to talk about the speech and the way forward for Democrats and democracy itself. Please welcome Governor Pritzker.
Oh, Ben, calm down. Calm down, Ben. We got a show to do.
Oh, yeah. Speed clap. Yeah, President Pritzker.
That's right, our Illinois Democratic governor, but according to Ben, not for long, soon to be president himself, J.B. Pritzker. He visited the crew over at The View. Now, you won't believe what they talked about, but if you listen to this show or followed Illinois politics at all for the last few weeks, you may have an idea. I'll let you think about it for a minute. That's right. He's been doing what he's always been doing this year, needling our 45th and 47th president, one Donald Trump. Did it almost the entire time in this interview with The View, further proving our theory on the Ben Joravsky Show that this guy is, in fact, running for president. We have a few clips to play from his appearance on The View. Ben, before we get to those clips, here's a quick question. Have you ever watched one episode of The View?
Full episode?
Full episode.
No.
Didn't think so.
I wish I hadn't answered that as honestly as I did, because that's another show I'm hoping it invites me on sometime. But no, never watched I've watched clips, bits and pieces.
That was funny. That was funny. I wish I would have lied there. Okay.
I would have lied.
All right. So you've never watched one full episode of The View.
Have you?
Yeah, I think I have watched one full episode of The View. Like just sitting at home,
Really?
Yeah. Not going to work one day or not going
to a slow day.
And I think it was on when I was like still in high school. So, just kind of hanging out at home.
I don't believe The View was on when you were still in high school.
I graduated in 2002. I think so.
I'm going to have our research staff look that up. Hold on one second. Jamie! All right.
When did The View? I'm pulling it up.
All right. When View. Let's see.
August 11th, 1997.
That's correct.
Damn. You're kidding.
No, it's been
around since then?
It's been on for a long time.
Whoa. That was Barbara Walters' days, right? Was Whoopi Goldberg on it in 97?
No. They had like Rosie O'Donnell. Remember they had her on for a while. Then they had Star Jones. They had her.
Oh.
So you've never watched a single episode of The View. I think this is appropriate. Ben, can you name all the hosts on The View right now? 30 seconds. Go.
Bahar. Whoopi Goldberg.
Bahar. Okay.
Joy. And Star. I know their first names. And then there's a guest host who comes on occasionally named Dennis.
All right. You failed that one miserably. You named like hosts of the past. Sonny Hostin.
Walters.
Sonny Hostin, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg. I can name 3. That's all I can.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like Sonny. I love the song Sonny. Have you ever heard the song Sonny?
Please don't sing it.
Okay. There's a song Sonny
All right, so let's move along here. J.B. Pritzker visited The View. Joy Behar, she wasted no time getting chummy with the governor.
It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Speech. Incredible.
Thank you.
And by the way, I was trashing billionaires, but you're one of them, and I like you. They're not all the way that I presented them. You are a billionaire, are you not?
I am.
I am. Yeah, life is good.
I'm fucking awesome. All right, so let's play a little more here from his appearance on The View. Thanks to ABC for this audio, by the way.
Thank you, ABC.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you. Joy Behar agrees with you, Ben, by the way.
I'm so happy to have you here because when I saw that speech, I said, this guy should run for president.
Oh!
First of all, Joy, he is running for president, okay? He hasn't officially formally announced. That's correct, Joy. That's correct. But he is effectively running for president.
Now, The View loved what JB had to say during his budget speech. Nothing about the budget. They probably fell asleep like all of us did here, and most of it. But that one part where he talked about Donald Trump, did some comparing and contrasting from a certain time. Let's hear what J.B. Pritzker, his thoughts on what he said during his budget speech.
Tell people what you were trying to say in that speech. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody who heard it, I think understands that over the last, it's been 38 days since the president took over. And he has slowly, steadily, actually relatively quickly, I guess I should say, but every day eroded your rights. And everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. And I'm not suggesting that we're heading all the way down that path, but I am suggesting that we should all be, it should be like red alert, everybody.
Yes.
It's time for everybody to wake up. And so that's really what I wanted to say.
Just one follow-up question.
Those are fighting words.
First of all, we need a studio audience. Okay, can I just say that we need someone to cheer when I say something? Okay? Yeah, I agree with what Pritzker said in the budget address, and you're absolutely correct. It came at the end of the budget address, which was, an hour long or something, and nobody's talking about the first 59 minutes of the budget address. I, by the way, know a political observer in the city of Chicago, who I won't name because she, giveaway, she does not want to be named. She thinks that Pritzker added that part at the end about the fragility of democracy in our country, strictly as a way of getting people not to pay attention to some cuts he had made in the budget. So it was a political strategy on the part of Pritzker. This is one of the most cynical political observers I know, D. I just got to throw out her observation. I thought about it, and I disagreed with her. I was like, I think it's because he's running for president. And so there may be a collateral benefit that nobody's paying attention to the cuts that he made. You're right. There may be a collateral benefit to that. But in the context of our time, where Donald Trump and MAGA dominate everything in our country, as they should, I think he was really doing that to bring attention to his still emerging, developing presidential campaign. No doubt in my mind.
Well, we're kind of trashing that budget address. Let's give it another shot. Let's try and listen to it and see. Maybe we're being a little too harsh on it. Maybe it sounds a little better after a week.
I believe strongly that we must continue our firm commitment to building up the rainy day fund.
Oh, no, it does not. Oh, my God. We're moving on. My God, it was boring.
It was funny going back to Emmanuel on the Bill Maher show. He goes, I talked about the three things that everybody cares about. And one of them is stable finances. And the reality is that nobody cares about that stuff. And take it from me, a guy who's dedicated years of his life to writing about it, D, no one cares about it. People still make fun of me because I spent so many years of my life writing about municipal finances. Ben, you write about the most boring stuff. It's so boring. So nobody cares about it at all. You're absolutely correct, D. They only care about how much they have to pay in taxes.
Rainy day fund. Just
rainy day fund.
Ooh, that sounds boring.
You will never get invited on The View for having a rainy day fund. You will never, ever.
No.
Bill Maher did not invite Rahm Emanuel to his show because Rahm Emanuel believed in stable budgets. He invited him to the show is because he's a celebrity who has a reputation for being a total asshole to lefties. And that's kind of where Bill Maher is now. He likes to be an asshole to lefties. So, I know. I'll bring out the ultimate asshole to lefties and put him on the show, and then we'll all laugh at lefties. But it had nothing to do with stable financial government, okay? Nothing. Because Bill Maher couldn't tell you anything about financial. He does complain about his taxes, though, D. Do you know that? Have you watched the Bill Maher show? Wait a minute. I'm going to turn it around on you, Dr. D. Have you ever watched an entire Bill Maher show?
Oh yeah, I've watched an entire Bill Maher show. It's well written. It's a very well written show.
The current, I'm not talking about back in the day when you were a kid smoking reefer in Alton.
Real time with Bill Maher, right? Like a current, up to date one. Yeah,
you've watched the whole one from start to finish.
Yeah. New rules, people. The best Bill Maher, if we're watching it, is when Dr. Phil went on his weird, creepy dungeon show, Club Random. Dr. Phil went on Club Random. Oh, man, Dr. Phil burned him, dude, because Bill Maher, he always talks about, like, he has to explain why he's not married or doesn't have any kids. Always, constantly. And Dr. Phil was calling him out and talking to him, and he's like, well, I still can't figure out why you don't want to marry a woman, but I definitely know why a woman won't marry you.
It's annoying as hell. Why would anybody want to marry him? It's so annoying.
And Bill Maher was just like, well, okay, people. All right, so the governor explained himself a little more on The View, and just in case you need a little more convincing that this guy is going to try and run for president, here's about a 1-minute clip of the governor needling the president again, then transitioning into what could be one of JB's future presidential campaign speeches.
Look, a lot of this on his part is distraction. He's trying to get, look over here. Don't look at what I'm doing down the middle here. And what are they doing? They're tearing down healthcare. Mm-hmm. Literally 20 million Americans risk losing their healthcare just in the next few months. And it's not like it's just an idea. They just passed it in the House of Representatives as part of the budget. They're going to take away Medicaid from millions and millions of people. In my state, 770,000 people will lose healthcare, and these are the people who need it the most
vulnerable.
And by the way, many of those people, indeed about half of them, live in red counties in Republican areas. They are Republicans who are going to, and they didn't know when they voted for Donald Trump that they were going to lose their health care because of Donald Trump.
They didn't believe it.
They didn't believe it wasn't talked about. Donald Trump on the campaign trail, and even now says, I'm not going to take away Medicaid. He says Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, I'm not taking those away. Meanwhile, he blessed the House plan that just passed that takes away Medicaid. Right. So that's the thing. I think most people may not know he is lying over and over again. People have to wake up.
That was a great contrast. Just listening to him and the way he talks and thinking about the other politicians we've talked about on the show today, Brandon Johnson, Rahm Emanuel, LaHood, the fellow from Texas, Gil. Thinking of all the other politicians in the show, I do believe that Pritzker he's got something. He's got that ability. There's just a way he can deliver his message, in my opinion, in a compelling way. And it's not an easy gift. I mean, it's not something that comes natural to a lot of politicians. They struggle with it. That's why I say, I wasn't convinced at first. Did not vote for him at first. Kind of won me over. This guy's got it. He's got a gift. So D, I do believe he will be President Pritzker one day. Yeah, you heard it here first.
That's our what a week. Oh, by the way, Ben, I got to mention something. There's a show now called What a Day. It's a Chicago show. It's called What a Day.
Yes, I was aware of that.
How pissed off are you about that?
What do they say about imitation? Sincerest form of flattery.
That's right. All right. That is your what a week. Remember, you can find us all over social media. All right. At Benny J Show. BENNY, the letter J Show. You can send us an email. Benny J Show. BENNY, the letter J Show @gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. feelings, complaints, movie requests, food requests. Send us whatever you want. It's fine. BennyJShow@gmail.com. BENNY, the letter J show.
All right. Thank you, Dr. D. You do an outstanding job. I haven't said this in a while. You do a great job, Dr. G. You're the pride and joy. Not of Alton, but of Godfrey, Illinois. Yeah, Godfrey, not Alton. Don't make that mistake again. I only made it
I gotta come
6
correct.
years. Give yourself a raise. Take it out of petty cash. Peace and love, everybody.
There is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine.